Numbers up on your screens. Let me welcome more guests who are joining us on the program. Yes, Neeti Jain of the BJP continues to be with us. Pankuri Pathak of the Congress Party. Sanjeev Srivastav has just left for another program. But let me introduce our other guests. A.K. Bhattacharya, Editorial Director of Business Standard. Niranjan Babu also with us. Let me go across to Niranjan Babu. Is Niranjan Babu with us? Yes, he is there. Mr. A.K. Bhattacharya is there as well. Mr. Bhattacharya, how do you see these numbers? And if these numbers were to hold true on the 4th of June, what does this say about the mood of the nation?
Well, if these numbers hold true, it will be a strong government, politically more stable government. It will probably cheer up the markets a little more, and it will probably make way for more purposive economic policy actions going forward. So I would say that exit polls do indicate the direction of the final results. So therefore, we can at this point in time assume that the new government that will be in place after 4th of June will probably have to take a difficult call on whether to go in for more fiscal consolidation, which has been the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi's favorite calling, or will go in for more spending to revive consumption demand in the economy.
Right. We've had strong GDP numbers come in yesterday. The opposition was questioning the government's performance when it comes to job, inflation, also on different schemes on the ground on lifting the poor out of poverty. Does these numbers somehow seem encouraging? Is this a validation of the performance of the government, or you feel that many of the core issues have not been addressed?
Well, as we all know, GDP is only one indicator of the state of any economy. And if GDP grows by 8.2%, as the National Statistical Office number did show for 2023-24, it is certainly one aspect of the economy. There are many other aspects of the economy that need tending to. There is a question about jobs. There's a question about unequal growth. There's a question about how the states need to be roped in the overall march towards economic prosperity. So there are many other issues that are not captured by GDP. So while GDP is, as I said, one indicator, and that should cheer the market as well as the political party in power, but there are many other issues. Like agriculture is not doing well. Manufacturing has done well. Consumption demand is not doing well, even though investment is being propped up by government expenditure. So there are many challenges that come up. GDP is only one number that doesn't tell you the entire story of the Indian economy.
You know, Mr. Bhattacharya, now compared to previous elections, issues like unemployment, jobs, poverty were there earlier as well. When you had strong governments and issues like these on the ground, have people always voted because of these issues or on personalities? Do you think people will differentiate what they need in terms of their daily livelihoods from who they want at a national level?
Well, it's a very interesting question that you have raised. I think personalities do matter. I'm reminded of Mrs. Indira Gandhi's personality. And certainly, Mr. Modi has a personal appeal to a large number of voters. So these personalities do matter. But at the same time, you have to recognize that the kind of welfareist policies that the Modi government has unveiled and implemented with great effect and great assistance from technology, the digital public infrastructure, transfer of benefits directly to a bank account, these have certainly helped the image and the personality of the Prime Minister. So both the factors are important. Now, unemployment and poverty is not that big an issue right now because after all, the multidimensional poverty index does show that India's poverty levels have actually come down. But unemployment is certainly an issue. The medium and the small enterprises section, their employment is an issue. So it is not that there are no issues, but there is the larger picture, the personality of the Prime Minister and the welfarist policies that have been implemented to great effect have actually helped, to my mind, help people paper over some of the problems that were that were confronting them in terms of employment or inequality.
Right. Stay with us. Niranjan Babu, let me get you in right now. And I just want to give our viewers a nationwide picture once again. It's important for us to keep seeing this again and again, simply because those tuning in should have the nationwide picture that the Network 18 is projecting. Out of 381 seats that we projected so far, the projections say 238 to 248 for the NDA, 108 to 118 for the India Alliance, 19 to 24 for other parties. If you speak about Maharashtra, a complicated state there, 32 to 35 for the NDA, 15 to 18 for the India Alliance. This is what the News 18 exit poll is saying right now. In fact, we can give you a larger tally at this juncture. 396 in total on your screens, 250 to 260 for the NDA, 111 to 121 for the India Alliance, 19 to 24 for other parties. Those latest numbers on your screens. Niranjan Babu, let me come back to you. How do you see these numbers right now? Do you think there are certain factors which could possibly swing the election in the opposition's favor, or you feel that the result of the 2024 Lok Sabha election is not going to be very different from 2019?
So it's actually, we need to check on the various factors. Say, for example, like if you look into the south, in Tamil Nadu, like my state is like Tamil Nadu, like here the anti-Modi wave is very it's like a very huge actually. Okay, if it is in Maharashtra, like as you told, like from 543 seats, you have projected 396 seats. So actually, from my point of view, exit polls are not exact poll. Okay, so let me go into the picture. Like as of now, we have to wait and see till June 4th what is the exact result. But the prediction as of now, like you have come into the table, is like somewhat relatively that is going to happen. That's how it's actually showing. That is the one thing. And the second thing is like people in our country, like they feel under the leadership of Narendra Modi is somewhat good in some other hand. But in some other hand, like people want a new government to be formed. That is like because like in South there is like in South Indians like Tamil Nadu, like there is a huge aid for the Modi and for the BJP. That's another reason. So that might be another reason. Like people are looking for India Alliance apart from NDA. We have to wait and see what is going to happen in the June 4th. That's what I just.
All right, Niranjan Babu. Also, what I'd like to ask you. That, you know, in states like Delhi and Haryana, we are seeing that possibly the Congress, the opposition, could make some gains. 2 seats or 3 seats in Haryana also, they could make some gains. Do you think that if this happens, it would be because of the farmers' issue, farmers' protests, the Arvind Kejriwal factor, the strength of the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab and in Delhi?
Yeah, it will. The main agenda is like people, like from the people perspective. So, okay, I'm not from any party's background. Okay, from the people perspective, people are thinking that like Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not visiting the people's. The basic concern of the problem of the voters. Like it can be an agriculture issue, anything. So that's the major issue that Congress took into it, and they did a campaign, and because of that. There may be a shift in the voter, as you told, in the Delhi and as well as in Haryana. But the exact result, the exact voter shift will happen in the last 2 to 3 weeks in the polling date only, because like all the campaign managers will work in the last 2-3 weeks. The complete game will shift. Before the polling date to last 2 weeks. That's how actually we have to wait and see what, because like people in India, like people have the important factor of what I can say is like they will forget all the things what happened before. Okay, that's the main issue in people, voters thing. So if it is happening in the last year, they will forget now. They will look for what is the problem right now. Don't look for the problem. But this is a very big issue as a nation issue. We have to wait and see that there might be a shift in the positive for the India Alliance as well in the two regions.
All right, let me get in Sanjoy Hazarika, who's joining us right now, well-known author, columnist and analyst, a specialist on the Northeast. Mr. Hazarika, thank you very much for joining us on the program. We are showing projections for the Northeast. Yes, about 15 to out of 15 seats that we have projected so far, 13 for the NDA. And I'm going to show Assam first. 14 seats in Assam, NDA 10 to 13, India Alliance 2 to 5, AIUDF 0 to 1. So how do you see these projections for the state of Assam? This is a state under Himanta Biswa Sarma. He has been speaking a lot about how he's making it easier for companies to do business in the state of Assam. He's getting semiconductor makers there. He's going to come up with a new defense policy. Do you think all of that has worked in the BJP's favor in Assam, if these numbers were to hold true?
I think your figures are probably quite correct as far as Assam is concerned. They certainly won't get less than 10, in my view, maybe 11. And I think it's a mix of Mr. Sarma's own style of politics and campaigning and the narrative, which has drawn support. I mean, there's opposition as well. There's not saying anything about that. There is opposition, but I think the BJP has a clear edge in a majority of the seats there. And also, if we're talking about the Northeast as a whole, I think they're going to do fairly well in the other states as well. Although I think it's much more challenging. It's much more challenging. I've just come from Mizoram and Meghalaya. It's much more challenging than was anticipated. I think in Meghalaya, they're having a very tough fight. It's an alliance. The NPP, the BJP is not contesting. And I think they really have the work cut out for them.
Right. What do you think is going to be the performance like across the Northeast? We are yet to show numbers for the other states, but if states like Manipur were to be asked about, Tripura, Nagaland, Mizoram, how do you see the opposition and the NDA performing here?
I think Mizoram will probably definitely go to the non-BJP, non-Congress ZPM. I think that's fairly clear. I think the Tripura will go very much with the BJP, both seats. Manipur is going to be interesting and challenging. You have a professor from JNU as the Congress candidate. His father was also in the Congress, contesting against the BJP candidate. And the state government and its support staff have thrown everything into it. But there is, I think, a great deal of challenge to the BJP on that, because the opposition candidate is raising a lot of issues that people on the ground are feeling. Unhappiness about inflation, livelihoods, etc. I think it's fairly straightforward about Nagaland and Arunachal. But as far as Sikkim is concerned, I'll be very surprised if Mr. Chamling's party, which is now in the opposition, doesn't win in the MP seat, definitely, and probably there's an anti-incumbency sense there as well against the current regime.
Right. Mr. Bhattacharya, if we were to ask you about the 7 phases, the Prime Minister has just tweeted to say that I want to thank voters, and I'm convinced that people have overwhelmingly voted in favor of the NDA. The India Alliance put up a strong show in that press conference earlier today, saying that we're going to win 295 plus. That is what Mallikarjun Kharge, the chairperson of the India bloc, went on to say. How do you see the confidence of the opposition at this juncture?
Well, I think, it is indeed a puzzle if you try to judge the opposition mood by these exit poll numbers. Um, uh, it's a fact that exit polls do indicate a broad trend, but they have often underestimated or overestimated the actual results by some margins. But broadly, if you look at whether it is the 2009 exit polls or the 2014 exit polls or even 2019 exit polls, um, these polls give you a broad sense of what may finally eventually happen, barring some state assembly election exit polls which have surprised you. So I am a little surprised, and it makes me wonder that if there is something that is in the works or something that is not been captured by these exit poll surveys. So the fact is that even if assuming that these exit poll survey results turn out to be broadly in the same direction, and you have a third term for the BJP running, you will still need the opposition bloc to get together and discuss what would be the strategy going forward. Because the performance, it seems to me, from these numbers is going to be little better than what it was in 2019. So you will not see an opposition that was quite rudderless in 2019. You will see a different kind of an opposition, which is a little more energetic and energized by these results, which are clearly showing that they may not have, if these results, these exit polls do turn out to be correct, they may not have overthrown the ruling party, but they have gained seats, they have done better. So it will be good for democracy also, because even in a democracy, you do need a strong opposition. You want a stable government, but at the same time, you need strong opposition if for the democracy to bear the right results.
Right. Let me just put one question. All right, I believe we've got more numbers coming in. The big numbers from Uttar Pradesh for all seats. The NDA, led by the BJP, expected to win 68 to 71 seats. The India Alliance expected to win 9 to 12. All right, let's speak about Bihar now. In Bihar, the NDA is projected to win 31 to 34 seats, and the India Alliance is projected to win 6 to 9 seats. Let's also speak about West Bengal. The NDA is projected to win 21 to 24 seats. The Trinamool Congress is expected to win 18 to 21 seats. Let's speak about Odisha as well. In Odisha, the NDA is projected to win 13 to 15 seats. The Biju Janata Dal is expected to win 6 to 8 seats. We are going to speak about more phases. And finally, in Jharkhand, the NDA is projected to win 9 to 12 seats. The India Alliance expects to win 2 to 5 seats. Yes, we will be getting you more analysis right now, but let me go across to the BJP spokesperson. And the question that I'd like to ask you, Neeti, that in the first few phases, when the voter turnout was low, and the reason why I ask you is because we are showing numbers for the first few phases, this was a concern for the BJP. Leaders like Tejasvi Surya had gone on to say that the opposition voters are coming out. The opposition is rallying its voters. Our voters also should come out in a big way. Somehow, do you feel that this is a concern within the BJP, that did the BJP voter actually come out in large numbers? Did the BJP RSS core vote bank come out in large numbers? Is that something that worries you, that maybe there could be an upset because of that?
So Parikshit, I think I've always maintained that a low voter percentage is bad for the democracy as a country, and on the whole, I think people need to come out and vote. But we've always maintained that it was the opposition voter base which was completely hopeless, that they did not want to come out because they had no hope of opposition winning. So I think it was their base that did not want to come out. Our party has always operated on the ground. We have that connect with the people. The door-to-door campaigns that happen. So I believe our voters have come out, and it is the opposition that needs to worry about it.
Right. Pankuri, any comments, any reply to the BJP spokesperson as we see these numbers? As Mr. Bhattacharya also pointed out, even if the opposition doesn't win this time, there are clearly gains. There are gains in the South Zone. There are gains in states like Delhi, Haryana. If that happens, if you have a more cohesive, if you do better than last time as an opposition, do you think that is still good for a more cohesive opposition? It will be good how things work in Parliament as well?
Well, I'll again repeat that the result on 4th is going to be very different from the numbers that you are showing here. And it's really not any polling agency's fault. The fact is that when there is a party that has gained such a huge majority in 2 elections, it's really difficult to predict that the election has gone a completely different way. Even when you talk to people, even when you interview them, a lot of people, and this is something that we have seen in Indian voters, they will not openly reveal who they have voted for. They might say that we have voted for the ruling party due to a lot of reasons, including the kind of social pressure they might have, or they don't want to openly say that they have voted against the ruling government. So this is a trend that we usually see, and there were these videos during the elections where somebody who's campaigning, who's part of the BJP campaign, who's there in the BJP's yatra, is saying that I am going to vote for the Congress. So that is what has really happened in this election. People have been very silent. A lot of people notice that this has been a very silent election. I think one of the reasons that it has been silent is because the BJP voter is very loud. They are very enthusiastic. They like to, really talk about their party and about Prime Minister Modi. But this time they were very disappointed. They were very quiet. I noticed it around me. People who have been, ardent Modi fans, they seemed very, they seem to be feeling very low during this election. And the voter, the kind of turnout that we saw declining, that was, I think, one of the biggest reason was that this demotivated BJP voter, which was very pumped up during 2014, which was very pumped up during 2019, and which really believed that Modi ji is going to change the picture of the Indian economy and the country, and which has been largely disappointed because there has been no improvement in their own lifestyle. So they did not come out to vote for the BJP this time, like the way they did in the last 2 elections. And apart from that, I think this election has been very different from 2014 and 19 in terms that, earlier there was this entire PR wave around Modi ji that he's this like a superhuman kind of a person who's just going to do something drastic and the country is going to change for the better and all of that. But then people really did buy into that. But this is the first time when people were talking about their real issues and they voted on their real issues, and that Pankuri, is why the voter was silent.
All right, I just want to show some information. Speak to our viewers about some information that is coming from the Press Trust of India. They are saying several exit polls across channels are predicting big win for the BJP-led NDA in the Lok Sabha elections. But let me go across to Mr. Bhattacharya at this point. Mr. Bhattacharya, the question that I wanted to understand, and we heard some analysts, some senior journalist colleagues of yours like Neeja Chaudhary earlier over the last few days, that the voter, it's very difficult to sometimes understand the mind of the Indian voter. Now, in an election like this one, where you cannot say whether there was a particular issue which was decisive, like in 2019, national security was a big issue because of Pulwama. This time, there was no issue which united the voters, so to say. In every state, there were their own issues. Sometimes phase-wise issues cropped up. Do you think probably in this election, the mind of the voter is even more difficult to decipher?
Well, I think in all elections, it's very difficult to decipher the mind of the voters, and particularly the Indian voters. And the Indian voters have shown that they are far more prudent and far more intelligent than what we normally assume them to be. So while it is difficult to capture the true extent of how they have voted through an exit poll survey, you can get a broad trend. But let me tell you something that in 2019, the exit polls underestimated the NDA's final performance. And something similar happened in 2014. But in 2009, when the exit polls happened, it was UPA's performance that was underestimated by the exit polls. So there is something to be said about the manner in which the BJP voters behave at the time of the exit polls surveys, and the way the opposition of the Congress or the India Alliance voters behave. So it could be a function of that. But as I said, that the Indian voters are inscrutable lot. You have to wait till 4th of June, as my colleague here, Pankuri, said, that to see that what exactly actually voters have done as far as the mandate is concerned.
Right. We'd really like to thank veterans like you and Sanjay Hazarika for joining us today. Mr. Bhattacharya, Mr. Hazarika, thank you very much, Niranjan, for those sharp views. And to both our panelists from our political parties, the BJP and the Congress, many thanks for joining us. And we wish you the very best for the 4th of June. A strong fight by both the NDA and the opposition. Let's see what happens on the 4th of June. These are exit polls. The real numbers from the morning of 4th of June. We're taking a break, but as we go into this break, take a look at what Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister, had to say. He was speaking to our News 18 colleague Manoj Sharma in Bhopal. He was reacting to our exit poll. Take a look as we will be back with the big All India projection.